What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Merge Tactics video. Today I want to talk about some things that I think really need to change in Merge Tactics. Now, I haven't actually spoken about this much in any of my videos. I talk about it a bit on my Discord with some of the people in there, but I want to, just state some really specific things that I think they missed. Obviously, you know that if you've played since the update, that nothing reset in the update. The troops are still the same, the modifiers are still the same. Hold on, let me lock in here. Okay, this is good. Troops are still the same, modifiers are still the same, traits are still the same. Nothing changed, which is okay. Supercell didn't say that it would. They said that the season would go on indefinitely, and they would gather more data and then determine what they were going to do from there, which is perfectly fine. That's what I was expecting, but I was hoping that there would be a few technical changes that they made to the game. There are some very specific things that are very, very annoying. Some of them have to do with RNG, which is, a term that everybody wants to throw around in this mode. 99% of the time, it's an excuse for them just being really bad and not knowing how to play the game. But there are some very specific instances where RNG is very real, very present, and it results in you losing a game that you otherwise could have had a chance to win. The first way that comes into play is actually what you saw on the thumbnail of this video, when your hand is completely empty of cards that you can purchase. The reason that happens is because the troop pool, and go watch my video on how the troop pool works if you don't fully understand that, but the troop pool has 4 of each copy. As soon as all of those copies in the pool run out, the troop pool does not pull the physical manifestation of the cards, or the computer does not pull the physical manifestation of the cards out of the troop pool. Pull out of the pool. I'll get it out there. What that means is that it will still continue to populate your hand with cards that are not able to be purchased. So say you have a Goblin Machine, an Executioner, and a Bombers, because they're right here. Say I have a 3-star on all of them, nobody started with any, there's no more in the pool. And then I'm cycling through my cards, and the computer chooses to put a Bomber, an Executioner, and a Goblin Machine spot into my hand. What that means is that they are going to show up as blank spots because the cards are no longer in the pool. Now, why is that a problem and why is that a bad thing for the game? Well, because it's random. That is a true result of RNG inhibiting some people and benefiting others. So say I'm out here now in round 4, and there's still a lot of cards left in the pool. I don't think we're going to run into that issue for this round or maybe even the next, but say there were 3 of us still alive at round 7 somehow, and there are a lot fewer cards in the pool, and I'm beginning my cycle trying to get 3 stars on my cards, and I cycle through once and I reset my shop, and it's all completely empty. And then my other 2 opponents here are able to cycle indefinitely. They keep getting cards in their shop. They are able to build up to 3 stars. That is a random aspect of the game. That is not something that's determined by skill, or anything that should be measured, or anything that can be changed or improved in the game. I mean, it's just completely random. I personally think that's an issue. I think that that's something that needs to be changed. I don't think it's fair at all for some people to be able to have the cycling capabilities that they do, and other people to be stuck on the blank slate. It's not a glitch, it is part of the game, but I think that needs to change. Just to remove that aspect of RNG, and really it is truly, an unfair advantage from the game. A second one, and I think this is more, just an idea I want to throw out there rather than something that I really think should change. It's an interesting one. Obviously, stuns in Standard Clash Royale retarget the troops. Why should that not happen here? I think it'd be very, very interesting if... Oh, why did I buy the cheapest card for my reset? Okay. I think we're going to stick with Ghost here. Let's do this. I mean, you got to give me some credit for being able to talk about a completely different topic and still be winning down here. But I like the stuns in, normal Clash Royale reset. Ooh, I should have gone for G Skelly. I messed up. I'm going to try to go for G Skelly on the bench if there's a chance I survive this. So... like, say, Mega Knight jumps to their backline, and it hits a Princess that was, locked onto my Executioner. Well, then why shouldn't it change and start attacking my, my P.E.K.K.A. or something like that? Just a random example. I think that the stuns should actually retarget. it would make a lot of sense. It would be, you know, really, really helpful for some things like countering rangers, you know, Goblin Machine especially, because the stuns, you know, obviously take them out of the game, but when they come back, they shoot back at the exact same troops. I think it would be really interesting if it forced them to retarget something that was closer. Bandit. Bandit is another one who stuns, and her whole thing is disruption, but then when the units get unstunned, they just start attacking the enemy again. That's something else that I think they should change. It'd be really, really interesting to see how that would affect the game. Maybe test it out in a few private servers, but I think it would be kind of fun. It would make those cards better, obviously, but maybe not. Maybe it would make them better. It would just be interesting for that concept to be mirrored in Merge Tactics. The last thing that I want to talk about is actually going to be over here in this tool called crtactics.com. Pretty cool. It's a pretty cool tool. Kudos to whoever developed this. But I'm going to talk about Executioner. Executioner's tech is not how it should be, in my opinion. So you can see right here, I have a lineup of Executioner, and say all of these troops over here are enemy troops. The Executioner is throwing his axe at the bomber. Now, we know that from normal Clash Royale, if Executioner is throwing his axe, anybody at all who gets contacted by the area of effect of that axe takes damage. That is not the case in Merge Tactics. Because nobody is in a perfectly straight line between Executioner and the bomber, none of these troops would take damage, even though the physical hitbox of the axe travels all the way through it. Now, say bomber was down here. Actually, I can't move the thing. Let's just say he's throwing at Royal Ghost now. It would hit the queen because the queen is in the direct line of effect between the Executioner and the Royal Ghost. Say it was, you know, say he's throwing at bomber now. It's going to hit the Dark Goblin and the Golden Knight, but it's not going to hit anything here. It's not going to hit anything here. It's not going to hit anything here. It's not going to hit anything. It's going to hit two cards there. It's not going to hit the Royal Ghost if it's here. I think that that's something that they should really change. And maybe, I mean, that's going to make Executioner stronger as a card. It's going to stay true to his tech. Maybe they nerf some of the damage so that it's not as insane of an ability where he's just shredding through the entire team with every axe he throws. But I think that's something that they should change. I think it would make Executioner a whole lot more real to his true card and make him a whole lot more, you know, viable and strong. Make throwers, you know, able to compete by themselves with Rangers. The last thing I want to talk about, and this is my biggest complaint right now, and this is why I think Queen and Royal Ghost are so incredibly strong. Splash damage does not hit them when they are in their ability. Needs to change. Needs to change immediately. It is unbelievably frustrating. So let's use our Executioner here again. Our Executioner is throwing at the bomber. These are all enemy cards. Executioner is throwing at the bomber. It hits Queen for 50% or below 50% health. She goes invisible. Royal Ghost, you know, his 3 seconds ran up. He becomes invisible. Executioner's axe, even though these cards are in a straight line, will not hit the Queen or the Ghost as it is attacking bomber. The invisibility gives them damage immunity to splash. That cannot happen. They are way too strong because of that. Same thing with bomber. Say bomber was throwing at the, now all the cards are on my side. Say bomber is throwing at the Dark Goblin here. If he's attacking the Dark Goblin, the splash would hit the Royal Ghost and the Queen. If they are invisible due to their abilities, they will not take that splash damage. It does not make any sense. The mechanics of the card should deal the damage to the troops while they are in invisibility, because that is the whole, that's the whole gimmick of Bomber and Execution. That's why you have them on their team, because they are area of effect cards. Same thing with Mega Knight, I believe. I can't confirm that. I don't think I've actually physically seen it happen where he goes to stun Queen. That one might be a bit different, but I know Executioner is the biggest one for me, because that's just, that's his whole thing, is that he's able to throw through lineups. Really frustrates me that is not the case. But yeah, there are a lot of things I think that could be changed in this mode, but these were a few that were the biggest to me, the most real, the ones that I encounter the most. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you think that should change. Let me know if you disagree with anything I said. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you are not already, and I will see you guys in the next one.